Hi everyone, my name's Sarah and I'm a counsellor and I specialise in narcissistic personality disorder, and this video is all about what is it, what causes it and what effects it has on children of narcissists. So I hope this information is really useful to you in helping you to understand what's been going on if you feel your parent might be narcissistic. Here we go. I'm going to explain all about narcissistic personality disorder, or NPD for short, and how it happens, what different types there are, what are their behaviours, what do they believe, and why do they do these kind of behaviours, and most importantly, what does it make their children feel and think. So what is narcissistic personality disorder and what causes it? It's a way in which some people defend themselves against the world. So we can see it as a set of defense mechanisms. It is thought to be caused by the personality someone's born with, mixed with early childhood upset. So maybe their parents are frightening and angry and not affectionate. Behaviours and beliefs. So they have a big sense of how important they are, and they may exaggerate their achievements and talents, and they expect to be recognised as superior. They spend a lot of time thinking about themselves, having unlimited success, beauty, power or talent. And they have a belief that they're very special and unique and can only be understood by or associate with other special people. And they need lots of admiration and praise. They feel they deserve special privileges, such as they expect special treatment or want other people to automatically do what they want. They take advantage of others to achieve their goals, wants or needs. They are unwilling to recognise the feelings and needs of others, and they are often envious of others, which means they want what they want, or they think others are envious of them, so they think other people want what they have. They are often arrogant, so this means they think they're better than others, or they know more than other people, or they should be in charge telling people what to do. And they have haughty attitudes and behaviours, so this means that they're looking down on other people from a height. And there are three types of narcissists. So these are grandiose, this means overly self-important. Covert, this means hidden, so they're not as obviously narcissistic as a grandiose narcissist. And some are toxic, so this means they can be quite sadistic and they can hurt other people. All three types of narcissists are manipulative, so this means they get others to do what they want, usually by being dishonest or unfair or by lying, and they're very self-centered. They don't have much empathy. So empathy is the ability to imagine how other people are feeling. And usually they have no regret for people they hurt. So they won't very often say sorry for anything or seem to be sorry. They don't have much remorse when they've upset people. They have little interest in the views or lives of others, as they're mostly concerned with themselves and getting their needs met. So they're looking at themselves mostly. What do I need? What do I want? And then they get that from other people. Their needs are to be admired and to control others. And this is known as narcissistic supply. Narcissistic supply is the name for the driving force behind the behaviours of a narcissist. This driving force is their shaky, unstable self-worth. Their self-worth is actually low, but they hide this from themselves and others. This is because it is painful for them and they have suppressed it, which means pushed it down into their subconscious. So it's in their mind, but they're not aware of it. And to keep their bad feelings pushed down, they need to get others to admire them constantly and to do what they say. Narcissists like to feel powerful and have control over others, get attention, praise and admiration. Narcissists enjoy activities and relationships which make them feel powerful and admired, and which then reinforce, which means to strengthen, the narcissist image of their superiority. So that's them being better than other people. So it's an image because it's not based in reality. It's a defense that they've created in their early years, that they're very special, they're this very special person, they're better than everyone else. And this is a defense they go into if they're feeling challenged in some way, or if they're feeling that sense of low self-worth starting to rise up in them, then they react against that. Their ideas about themselves are based on a fantasy. So this means it is a dream or a wish, and it is not realistic. And the purpose of the fantasy is for them not to feel sad or depressed. Maintaining the attention on this image of themselves that they've invented helps them to not feel the sadness underneath it. Other people exist in a narcissist's life to reinforce their fantasy image of themselves. So this means they might say about their favourite child, oh, my child is top of the class at school, and they will tell this to other people so that then in their mind this means this image of myself I have is true. This fantasy image of myself is true. So they're looking for things in their environment that they can use to tell other people about, which is proof that they're more special. And then if things in their environment challenge them or don't make them feel special, they will belittle those people in their environment. So devalue them. So they can be quite abusive, and they can humiliate those people that challenge them, because they can be very angry with their environment when it doesn't reinforce this image of themselves. If people around them do not make the narcissist feel special, the narcissist will feel frustrated, and then the underlying rage and depression will start to come out. Narcissists are very quick to anger, and this is known as narcissistic rage. This can be very frightening for those around them when it happens. Being disagreed with or not getting their own way can send a narcissist into a rage, as it challenges their need to control their environment. They need to be the boss. They may be physically violent, slam doors or break objects, and their moods can be unpredictable and change rapidly. So their moods can be unpredictable because on one day they might be angry about something, and then the next day about the same subject they might be relaxed. So this means their children don't ever know where they stand, because sometimes mummy and daddy is angry about X, and then sometimes mummy or daddy is relaxed about X. So this makes them unsure of what their reaction should be a lot of the time, or most of the time. This causes people to feel fear, and then this can bring them back under the control of the narcissist. Narcissists feel justified in being angry, and they hold the person they are angry with to blame. This is because they don't think they do anything wrong, as they are always right. So this is part of their defense mechanism. I'm right and everyone else is wrong. I'm special, I can't be challenged. Which of course is not realistic, because nobody can be right 100% of the time. There are a few differences between anger and narcissistic rage. Anger is a natural reaction to a frustrating or annoying event, and it comes from a reasonable cause and will vanish quickly after it's expressed. So it's understandable why people are angry. Their anger comes up, it lasts maybe a couple of minutes and then it disappears. But with a rage, this can come on and it can last for hours. Common behaviours of narcissistic parents. So narcissistic parents do not respect their child's right to privacy. They feel they have a right to know everything and can do what they want. So this means they may read their children's diaries and search their rooms, and they will often embarrass their children by telling other people their private information. They often shame their children for their normal bodily functions, and when their children reach their teenage years, they may become very jealous of their children, and they are highly critical. So you might find, if you have a narcissistic parent, that they criticize most things that you do, and you might not get praised very often. They will often treat their children differently. Favoured children are known as golden children, and unfavoured children are known as scapegoats. So they will spend little money or time on their scapegoat children, and more money and time on their golden children. These roles can change around and are not always fixed. An only child, for example, some days they may find themselves in the role of the scapegoat, and some days they may find themselves in the role of the golden child. So this is really unstable for them, because they never know which role they're going to be in, because this is all dependent on the narcissist's mood. what day they've had. Narcissistic parents will often play their children against each other. This is a basic divide and rule tactic. It's very common actually for children from narcissistic families to not have much of a relationship with each other in adulthood because they've been so divided when they were young. They couldn't form a relationship and they couldn't bond because their parent made sure they were fighting against each other. Narcissists can be highly competitive and they may compete with their children. So they're very jealous of their children. So for example, if a narcissistic mother has a daughter, that daughter might find that their mother is very jealous of them. They may pick them apart, criticize them all the time about their physical appearance because of that jealousy and competitiveness, and not wanting their position of superiority to be challenged. A bit like that fairy tale of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, when the stepmother is looking at herself in the mirror and she's saying, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of us all?" And she can't tolerate when her stepdaughter, Snow White, is more attractive than she is, and then she has to destroy her. This ties in with narcissistic personalities. This means then, for a child of a narcissist, they'll often underachieve or be average in life, so they won't reach their potential because of the fear of being criticized, because of the jealousy of their narcissistic parent. They idealize and devalue others. This means that they will either see others as all good or all bad and not a mixture. So this is the basis of the scapegoat child and the golden child. So in their mind they can only be in that space where something's all good, so that's their golden child, or they can only be in the space where something's all bad, so that's their scapegoat child. They will manipulate others in order to meet their needs, and much of what they say or do has a hidden motive. They will rarely apologize as they view themselves as always correct, and they have a strong need to control people and events around them. They often use punishments of not speaking for a long time and narcissistic rage. So for a young child with a narcissistic parent, this can be really frightening, to be ignored by your parent for days because you've done something they didn't like, which you may not be sure what it was because it's not always clear when they go into a silent treatment, and then they go into these rages. So from 0 to 60 in 2 seconds, they can be triggered into these rages. This is really frightening for a young child. They will usually blame others for everything they feel has gone wrong. They generally refuse to take personal responsibility. That means they'll never say, "I'm sorry, that was my fault." They'll always blame other people for everything. They will often use shame and fear to control others. They do not value the feelings and opinions of other people, and they will use a technique known as gaslighting to control others. So you might have heard this word said a lot. So what is gaslighting? Gaslighting is a type of manipulation. So this is where narcissists trick others into doing what they want them to do, or into thinking what they want them to think. So what gaslighting does is it makes people question their version of reality, and they start to doubt themselves. So they might think, "I'm sure such and such happened, but my father's saying it didn't happen, so now I really wonder, am I wrong? Am I seeing things wrong?" And sometimes people will even question their sanity and think, "I must be crazy because I'm always being told what I see isn't true." And this can be really unsettling, disturbing. So they may end up doubting their own memory of events and how they see things. So this is awful because they don't have a strong understanding of what reality is. Reality becomes unstable because they're not sure who's telling the truth all the time. Or they might have part of them that knows that they're right and the way they see things are right, but then another part of them which is doubting everything. And this could be a defense mechanism developing, because this is going to stop you being angry with your parent, isn't it? So if your parent is saying to you such and such happened and you know it didn't, then if you immediately are standing up for yourself and being angry and saying, "No, you're lying to me, that didn't happen," then there's going to be a punishment. There's going to be a silent treatment, or there's going to be a rage. But if you think to yourself, I wonder if I'm wrong about that, then that doubt is going to stop you feeling angry, and you might be quite submissive and think, oh, I'm crazy, I'm not correct, my mother's correct or my father's correct. This will affect your body language and your facial expression, so then you won't show anger or any challenge to the narcissistic person when they're telling you what their version of reality is, which they expect you to go along with. People with NPD tend to show one face to their victims and another to the rest of the world. And this often means that if their victims ask for help or speak out, they may not be believed. So this can be really difficult for children with narcissistic parents, because in the home it's different and they see that different side of their narcissistic parent. The angers, the rages, the control, the criticism. But outside of the house, because the narcissist is aware of their image and they're presenting this image of their ideal self to others, and they're presenting this image of them being right and good to other people, then other people may say to the child of the narcissist, oh, your parents are lovely, your parents are very nice. So this can be really confusing, because in the house your parent's really critical, awful, invades your privacy, calls you names, humiliates you, but then other people are telling you that your parent is nice. So this can lead you as well to question what your version of reality is. Am I wrong here? What's going on? I don't understand this. Am I the wrong one here and everyone else is right? So it can feel very isolating, like you against the world, if other people can't see what's happening. And a lot of people don't, because they don't understand what narcissism really is. Gaslighting involves a pattern of abusive behaviours which are done with the intent to influence someone and to control them. So narcissistic parents can be emotionally neglectful to their children. This means they do not look after their children's feelings, and this makes their children think that their feelings are not important and that they don't matter as people. Children of narcissists feel they have no right to be themselves, and they have to serve the wants and needs of the narcissistic parent and be what others want them to be. So this shapes their core beliefs when they're young, is that their feelings and needs are not important, and then this gets carried into adulthood, because this is what they learn in their early years. And they have often been lied to by their narcissistic parent, so may not be 100% sure what is true. This can mean they doubt themselves and their own judgment, and also develop a mistrust of others. So this is really common for children of narcissists, is that they struggle to trust many people, and they're waiting to be hurt and let down and criticised, and it's hard for them to get close to people. They may have often been accused of being liars themselves, so this can give them a core belief that, in general, others won't believe them in a lot of things they say. So some children of narcissists will think that they have to prove what they're saying is true all the time. They're always proving, I'm a nice person, what I'm saying is true, I can be trusted, I'm not a really bad person. And because they have these as core beliefs, especially as scapegoat children, then this feels like this is something unfair. It feels on some level. On some level they might believe it. On another level they know it's unfair. And so that's where this proving things come from. They expect to be seen as a liar and a bad person. So they're always over-explaining things, trying to prove that they're honest, that they're good people, nice people. Their opinions and ideas are often not valued, and this can make them feel what they think is not important, that nobody wants to listen to them, and that they are not interesting. So this is another thing, that children of narcissists can have an underlying sense of, I'm boring, I'm not interesting to other people. Because they're not interesting to their own parents, because their parents are narcissistic, not because of anything that's wrong with them, then this becomes a core belief that they have about themselves. I'm just a boring person, I'm just not interesting, which is devastating for children's self-esteem, feelings of self-worth, and how much they value themselves and their life. They have been criticised a lot, so they can have low self-confidence and low self-worth. They may feel that nothing they do is good enough. They may have very sad feelings which are overwhelming, and they may cry a lot. They may feel desperate to escape the narcissistic parent, but also want to be loved by them. So this can be an inner conflict. There's that need to be loved by your parent, and then there's the knowledge that your parent hurts you so much that you don't want to be near them. So this can be really confusing for a young child. They may feel paranoid, helpless, angry, frustrated, confused, frightened, unloved, or anxious, or all of the above. They may feel more comfortable being alone, and they may feel they need to prove they are good or worth something. Children of narcissists may often feel a sense of danger, that they can't relax, or that they feel scared and they're doing something wrong when they're not. So they may have a feeling most of the time that I'm wrong as a person, I'm doing something wrong, I am wrong, just a sense of wrongness. And there's a fear that they may feel consciously, or they may just be aware of it subconsciously, which means it's influencing your behaviour, but you can't actually feel it. They may feel anxious or worried that if they don't do what other people want, they will get into trouble or people won't like them. So this can be why a lot of children of narcissists are people pleasers. There's that fear of being left alone, unliked, criticised, hated even. They can be quite fearful of people around them, fear of reactions, how people will behave, a fear of rejection, a fear of abandonment. There can be lots of fears around other people. The way a narcissistic parent behaves is not the fault of their children, and it's completely their own responsibility. So narcissists are made by their inherent characteristics when they're born, the personality they're born with. Then usually there is trauma on top of that. Maybe they have a narcissistic parent themselves. Maybe they were rejected as children, and then they've invented this fantasy image of themselves, which they need to believe in, and they need to make other people believe in to fill that hole in them of that something that's missing for them. And they develop a personality disorder. But at the end of the day, we're all responsible for our own behaviour. Understanding the behaviours of people who are narcissistic is very important, as it can help to make sense out of situations which are hard to understand and seem illogical. So it's really important to understand narcissistic behaviours. So lots of people come across this information and they think, oh my goodness, that's so interesting, my narcissistic parent does nearly all those things. And then it helps them to see that it's not their own fault. It's nothing to do with them, actually. Those behaviours belong to that disordered parent and to that disorder. And then this helps them to recover from that and stop blaming themselves for things that have happened, and to stop hating themselves as a person and stop doubting their version of reality, because then they start to see, it's not me actually, it's, my mother or my father. So I really hope this video has been helpful and has helped you to understand a bit more if your parent is or isn't narcissistic, and that it's not your fault if your parent is narcissistic. If you'd like to, you can visit my website, which is childrenofnarcissists.org.uk, and there's lots of information there about narcissists, and please go over and visit there and you might find something interesting that'll be helpful to you. And yes, good luck. Bye.